So you develop a one-sided addictive relationship towards substance. Now, the trickiest thing about the psychology of that is you lose a sense of internal power completely. Because with core creation currents and with the way how Source is structuring anything, this reality, this is a holographic reality. What you see is actually a reflection of the currents that you've projected. This body, anything manifest, anything matter, anything that you see, hear, feel, sense, that is a reflected projection field of the currents that are originating from you. So when you put your power outside of yourself into any kind of substance or any other relationship, even with a person, if you rely on someone else to make you feel a certain way, you are reversing, quite literally, you are reversing creation currents. Your mind is pretty much functioning as a writer. It gives you scripts. It gives you a linear structure. It gives you language. It works in a structure that has an electric, base electric quality. And however you define yourself, the role that you are giving to yourself is pretty much going down directly to your emotional body, to your actor, whose sole job is to follow the script. Now, obviously, your actor can improvise and kick a fuss. Your body can just go, no, I'm not having any more of that shit. But as a general rule, your body will play out the script that you're giving to it. Now, back then, I assigned my heart as my director. But then later on, I'm realizing that really is your spirit, Source and your spirit. You do have an individuated spirit. Source is this undifferentiated field of consciousness, and a spirit energy, a spirit body, a spirit structure is an individuation. So you have a spirit, galaxies have a spirit body, any form, each and every one of your atoms have their own spirit body component, their own spirit body template. You are quite literally script writing a reality for yourself. So if our first imprints, and usually on this planet, our first imprints are heavily indoctrinated with fear, pain, suffering, scarcity, then unless you consciously start rewriting your scripts, reprogramming your neural pathways, repracticing your new habits, then you just keep subconsciously, unconsciously, covertly, overtly playing out the original scripts that you've got embedded from your first role models. How we relate is usually, Freud was a coke addict and coke dealer and a pedophile. So just take everything that he says with a pinch of salt. Coke back then was like, it wasn't, Freud was not like standing in a street corner being dingy, like, you want a hit? You're looking for something, sugar? No, it was pretty much the case of, oh, ma'am, you've got a toothache? Here's some cocaine. Like back then it was that. So that's how he was a coke dealer, but he was prescribing cocaine and he was taking cocaine at pretty large doses, as well as in his notes and diaries, he was, he mentioned love towards minors, which again, at that time was not such a big deal. But just, I don't quote Freud lightly, but it originates from him, or he was the first one who coined it, that we do have a sexual attraction towards the opposite sex parental figure. Parental figure, because it can be an aunt, it can be an uncle, it can be your brother, sister. The opposite sex is whoever is closest to you, whoever you have the most emotional relation to. That opposite sex parental figure becomes a blueprint for your later relationships. If your brothers and sisters were cruel to you, you will expect your partner to be cruel to you. It's not that you want it. It's not that you consciously wouldn't do anything and everything to conduct your life exactly the opposite way, but subconsciously, that's what you expect from your partner, because those original imprints set a value system in our emotional understanding. Is this how much I'm worth? Is this how much I'm valued? Oh, okay. Then I will adjust my internal value system to match the feedback that I'm getting, to match your vibration, to find common ground, harmonize with you. I will change myself. And that thought process, that self-worth system, that self-esteem system, that value system is very, very, very heavily related to our relationship with food. Because food is one of the things that we need on a daily basis. It shouldn't be this way. If we would understand physics, if we would understand creation currents, if we would understand how to tone and communicate with different parts of our biology, we would be able to communicate with UV light, and we would gather energies from UV light, because we generate the same energy storage, quantum storage particles that UV light can activate. So we would just be able to communicate with sunlight and unleash our stored electric potential and just feed ourselves. So the very fact that we need food in and of itself is a control system. But now that we do need food on a daily basis, our relationship with food is pretty close to our relationship with love. Intimacy, closeness is pretty much our vital food. And our relationship with food, physical human food, is pretty much a question of survival, much like love. So we start modeling the two relationships. We start having a love relationship with food. Now, if our definition of love is something like along the lines that love hurts, love is painful, love will neglect me, love will abandon me, love will never love me back, then that is pretty much how we choose our food items, our nourishment. But our relationship with nourishment, our relationship with how we take care of ourselves, how we take care of our bodies, it starts with love. It starts with our definition of love, how we love ourselves. Because feeding ourselves is quite literally determining our level of consciousness. It's the same thing as if you just don't have the frequencies on the way back home, you're going to vaporize, you're going to blow yourself up. If you don't build from quality building materials, your house is going to be brittle. And if it's brittle, it cannot hold certain complexities of frequencies. if you don't hold a complexity, if you don't have a complex geometry, if you don't have a complex movement, then certain levels of emotional states, consciousness states, are going to be quite literally out of your reach, out of touch. They are not going to be accessible. You're going to be more prone to anger, fear, hatred, antagonism, numbness, instead of joy, love, pleasure, because your house is not built for those frequencies.